We're live.
Well, gather around, folks. Let me tell you a tale about politicians and their promises that always seem to fail.
How dare you?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Top of the time zone. I'm Alan C. You're with Johnnie J in the house, here on the Innervision FM universe. You're not going to want to miss today's podcast. Brought to you by Colorado Art Relief Fund, Eeny Meeny Grants, Bonefields Foundation, Chinook Foundation, Christian Brothers Moving Company, based in the great state of Texas, Englewood, Colorado, and Phoenix, Arizona. Also, Richard Damiano of the Littleton Eye Clinic. Stay with us.
Oh my God.
That's who we love, and that's who we serve.
Is it running now? Yes. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather Soul, James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul, James Brown, saying stay with it and hit it.
Well, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, we made it through another week, and it's now the beginning of another week. And happy Monday, everybody. Tune into another thought-provoking podcast. Today, we're going to delve into the Word, the living water, as it were. So, this is going to be a fun podcast. Don't miss this one. This is going to be great.
Yeah, stick around to the end. We're going to give you an offer for you artists and musicians out there about a membership that you can receive from us, and we're running an ad on Facebook talking about the same offer. So if you're part of our Facebook Innervision FM group, if you're not, send out a friend request and become a part of that as well, as we learn how to monetize these funnels here. Yeah.
It's just after 7 a.m. in the Philippines. It's 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I don't know, leave a like, share, subscribe, toss a comment down on whatever platform you're watching us on in the Innervision FM universe. Tell us what time it is in your part of the world. Broken clock is right twice a day at least. And my clock has been broken for a long, long time.
Oh, yes. And and I was just thinking like this concept, because on Facebook and on LinkedIn, I think I took out like the specific name of this church, but I could have put in 2 churches, because sometimes I bounce back and forth. Well, I could have really put in 3, and maybe even 4, because sometimes I bounce back and forth between different churches, and I listen to like the prayer requests. And it's kind of interesting to listen to, like, okay, what are people praying for? What's going on? And how some people, like, they do the James, if someone is sick in the body, call the elders and have them lay hands on that person, in a prayer. The righteous prayer, fervent prayer of a righteous man will help drive that sickness away, kind of thing. I'm paraphrasing. You got to go in there and read it yourself. It's in a book of James, either chapter 4, chapter 5. And then I had a friend say, well, the person that's praying for that person looks sicker than the person that they're praying for.
I noticed that there's been a lot of times when people like, let's just say Saint Francis of Assisi, for instance, he was one of the most sick people that I know of in history. And yet he healed a bunch of people. So, the question was brought up, did Jesus come for the sick or the healthy, or did he come for the rich? And I submit to you that he came for all of us, folks. I mean, whether we're sick, whether we're healthy, whether we're rich, whether we're poor. But he had a really big affinity to the poor community. We're going to talk a little bit about kind of a healthy lifestyle, whether it's approved by the FDA, the CDC, the powers that be, so to speak, all the alphabet agencies throughout the world, or not. We're going to talk about a good, healthy lifestyle, and that's a plant-based lifestyle. We find this in Genesis 29. It says,
well, chapter 1, verse 29.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. It says, then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. And boy, did I used to take that out of context. Well, if he gave us every seed-bearing plant, I'm going to use every seed-bearing plant. And of course, I forgot that he was just talking about using it for food. And,
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, man.
But it does continue. It says, they will be yours for food. And, once I got that to me, once I got to the end of myself, folks, and I started reading the Bible again after the 1,000th time of reading the Bible and thinking it was for somebody else. All the scriptures, they're always for somebody else, but never for me.
Yeah.
So when I got back into Genesis chapter 1, and I got right around to 29, 30, 31, and I realized, holy moly, I need to go through my toolbox and figure out what tools work, what things need to be fixed, and what needs to be thrown out because it's broken, and what needs to be changed. And I realized I don't have to change anything. I've just got to change everything. And the only way that I can change everything is through the wonder-working power of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, that's really where it came to fruition for me. You've got a personal story, Johnny, about foods and this kind of thing. Delve into that a little bit.
And I got to put in this. Okay, sometimes we go to the supermarket here, and they have these two boxes. They have one with the man-made seedless watermelons, and then the seed watermelon. The one that has the seeds in it is always empty.
It's always empty.
Yeah, it is like. And then the one that's with the seedless one, it's always full because you think, wouldn't that be more convenient just to eat watermelon without any seeds in it? But
GMOs, no.
Huh? Yeah.
GMOs, no.
Yeah. And I think, like, why is that one always full and this one is empty, and they got to replenish the one on the left, but not the one on the right?
I look at that and I think, well, what an awesome marketing tactic. If they leave the organic stuff as empty, but yet they go ahead and they fill the GMO one, the average customer is going to look at that and go, oh, well, that one's empty. I guess I'll just have to settle for this one over here. And so therefore, if they go ahead and fill that GMO one up, then people are obviously going to keep ingesting that stuff.
What happens? It doesn't sell, so people, they wait until they fill back up the non-GMO.
Yep.
And then it gets empty again because people want the seeds.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. So, we humans, we're not always the smartest tools in the shed, but we do know what's good for us. We do know that the stuff that was made by our Creator is better than genetically engineered stuff, potentially. Sorry, YouTube. Allegedly. Sorry, YouTube.
Yeah. Now, in the case when I was growing up, because you as a kid, I guess the salespeople, they count on the parents buying. The parents are the ones that buy the products. But on Saturday mornings, they could run an army of cartoons telling kids that, hey, this is the latest thing, Lucky Charms. I remember something, the cereal, Lucky Charms, which is just sugar, put in milk, or sugar cornflakes with Tony the Tiger, just Frosted Flakes.
They're great.
All right. And then what was the other one?
Captain Crunch.
Captain
that was
Crunch.
one of my favorite.
That's another one.
Corn Pops.
Corn Pops.
Corn Pops, another one. Yeah. And it was like these two bad combinations, but they were trying to sell more milk because of the milk and dairy company. They had to sell this product because, how can you sell like a fruit tray like bananas, oranges, and grapes and all that kind of stuff? I mean, that would make a lot of money. But if you could sell this other, and then they would put these toys. Sometimes they would put the toys inside, or sometimes you can cut out like something you can make a toy out of on the box, right? And so I'm just looking at this marketing thing. Okay, so that's breakfast, right? Then we go down to the main food. And my mother she was back in the day when they didn't have food stamps, and what was the other? They didn't have food banks back in the day, back in the 20s, 30s. I near say like 40s, 50s. They didn't have any of that food banks and stuff like that. So
I didn't really hear about food banks until probably the 80s, 90s, even.
Yeah. And so what people do is the hobos, or what we call today homeless, or what do we call them? The unhoused. What do we call them?
Socially challenged.
Yeah. They would knock on your back door and ask you if you had anything they could eat. And she said that she learned how to cook by experimenting on these hobos, right?
Whoa, okay.
So she would.
The alley filled up with dead people.
Yeah. Yeah, and she would put all this, you have the can of lard grease on the table in the middle of the stove, and you would put that in everything.
Absolutely, it's good flavor. There's
Right.
nothing better than some bacon grease. Nom.
Yeah, bacon grease, lard. I mean, you put that in the fish, and I noticed like when she would cook fish, she would cut up a bunch of garlic, and then she clean the fish and all that, and put that garlic in it, and it was more garlic than the fish, which maybe that was one of the saving grace. But now we were young, and I used to love spaghetti, but hate it at the same time, because I always associated spaghetti with upset stomachs. Because she would put all this grease in there, and like you would cook the meatballs in grease, and then you wouldn't drain it, you would pour that whole thing into the spaghetti.
Yeah, absolutely. The pasta would then soak up all that oil and all that, so you wouldn't even know until the thing got cold that there was all this grease in there.
Yeah, and my dad got it the worst. I mean, he would always be in the bathroom, on the bathroom floor by the toilet. And you would think that he would say, hey, Matty, can we do something about this? Or maybe he was very defensive and said, no, I can't do nothing about this. I'm not sure why that conversation didn't happen, because you think you would get tired of being, maybe everything else was in order, so you have to pick and choose your battles.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And sometimes a lifetime of habits learned over time, they take a while to go ahead and break. And, if you eat things that are unhealthy or ingest scriptures into your life that may have been changed or whatever over time, and you don't know, but then suddenly you find out that, the Bible's been changed here or there or anywhere, so I'm going to read this particular version or whatever. But with food, well, it's been changed over time, and but you don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you find out. But
and you're just a child, and you trust that whatever your parents feed you, that's the best for you.
That's right. Or whatever your preacher preaches on is the best for you, because the feel good message is really what it's all about these days. Is, the old time getting into the meat and potatoes of the word. That's not preached on all that much anymore. Just like with food, if it tastes good, eat it. If it gets you a little bit overweight, well, whatever. I mean,
If it
people
clogs a
can,
few arteries, go ahead.
yeah, because there are certain companies which will remain nameless. They can potentially get a little bit of extra money off of this, and everybody's happy. You're happy because you ate what you feel like is a good meal.
Yeah, I remember what my brother, he was this lean, mean machine. He's like 6'5", out of the army, lean, mean machine. At the end of his life, he was as big as a house. My brother used to joke. He said, "Have you hugged your brother lately? If you can." And he used to bake all these cakes, and so he would give some of them away, but a lot of them he would eat himself.
Absolutely.
Right. And he said that the doctor told him, he said he would drive around and he says he sees all these places where he can go eat, but the doctor tells him, and he said, "I don't know why, I just can't go in there and drive in and get me something real quick." And he didn't understand that, even though his doctor didn't tell him the full extent of why he couldn't, that the main thing was the way they were preparing these fast foods were detrimental to your health.
There is a way to break out of the matrix, as it were, and that is to start new habits. And it does take a little bit to do that. It takes some stamina, some fortitude, and
18 days to start a new habit.
absolutely. And I was just gonna say that it's been said that 18 to 21 days, if you do something for a little bit of time, then it becomes habit forming, whether it's good or bad. And so if you start a new habit, make it a good habit. We draw that from Joshua chapter 6, verses 15 and 16. On the seventh day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on the seventh day, they circled the city 7 times. The 7th time around, when the priests sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the people, shout, for the Lord has given you the city. And the Lord's given us all these good things. He's given us all the tools and tips and tricks, and he's the ultimate in the creator of the universe, and we can only just emulate what he does, because we're his tools, we're his instruments, we're whatever you want to call us, we're his creation. We're also the heirs to the kingdom, and so it's on us to bring this message of hope to you guys. I mean, if you can get a good word, get that good word. If you can get some good food, get that good food, because we as Americans, we've been spoiled. We eat a king's diet. We eat meat every day, or at least 6 times a week or 4 times a week.
And if you have meat 3 times a day, maybe that's too much, and maybe that's building up so much toxin. Maybe your body can only handle maybe once a week.
Yeah.
My wife has been having some health problems, and last month she ended up in the hospital with severe infection in her tonsils. So she was there for a week. Doctor said, "Got to quit eating the grease."
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because Filipino culture is all about pork and rice and fish.
Oh, there's nothing better than
rely
pork steak.
heavily on pork. And in the last few years, I said, get rid of the fats that you're using. Quit buying it in the market. Quit buying it in the store. We've been buying it's a hot pressed coconut oil, so it's not as good as cold pressed,
Yeah.
but it's better than your vegetable oils and your meat fats.
Mhm.
And
That's
things have been
absolutely-
improving.
Yeah.
No, just a little
And then-
simple change.
It's amazing what cutting that stuff out of your diet will do. Well, now she's at a point where she has to,
Mm.
because it's becoming life threatening. Kidneys are a problem. Liver is a problem. She's going to get her tonsils out probably this week. It's when we were growing up, my mom always had a garden. We always had to weed it, of course, but we always had a garden, always had fresh food, vegetables, everything we had when we were growing up. That was in Wisconsin, though. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
See, and I think that's the best thing of it, because we've gotten so far away from, with all these apartments. I mean, here in Denver, they're just building up these boxes and boxes and boxes, but no land around it, no like little porch or anything like that where you can, a balcony where you can, do like a little garden and do like, little herbs and stuff like that. And it's almost like they're planning, you were talking about the 15-minute city.
Yeah.
So they're just planning like we're going to be dependent on the grocery store. We're not going to know how to grow any of our own food if we wanted to. And we have to depend on them. And if the truck doesn't come in or whatever, because this food is all shipped. And I got these Fuji apples, and I found out that they were crossbreeded with this other apple in 1960.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I could just grab my phone and say, "Where did these come from?" And then boom, takes me back there. And how many of us, like, if you're in the supermarket, you could just grab your phone and say, "Hey," you read the brand and say, "How was that created? When was that crossbred with that?" And it's just interesting to find out, because sometimes you say, "Oh, wait a minute, let me put that one back."
Well, what's interesting about knowledge itself is it's being manipulated. Like, for instance, the new terms and conditions. If it's not approved by somebody, it's going to get yanked. And so, the best thing is to lay your hands on some good hard copy. Learn from those that knew how to live years and years and years ago. Don't let that knowledge die. Talk to an old person today. Talk to somebody that lived through, say, the Great Depression, because their knowledge is all important, especially these days, because it's going away. Like in 10 years, we're probably not going to be able to really talk much about, well, how do you grow a tomato? How do you do all this stuff?
And I was talking to this guy who was he's 84 years old, and he grew up in Denver, and he was telling me like the stuff that was here, or you could imagine like buildings that were there, like this is around like 9th Avenue, like near Federal, and he would say like this store used to be there, but it's no longer here. He said it used to be like a little trees and stuff like that, where he would go from tree to tree and stuff like that, and he said that's no longer, and because it's things they cover over things and build buildings or parking lots, and it's kind of interesting to see how things have changed. And we used to have like a bunch of old houses along 13th Street. Well, some of those houses have been torn down, made into apartment complexes, and so a lot of that history is passing us by. But getting back to the evening. Sometimes I go by, I was walking by this lady's yard. It's a place called the Parridge. And she's sitting out in front of her little complex, which was a Victorian house that was made into apartment buildings, right? And so she sat on the porch, but it's all this trash out there. And I'm thinking like, I know you don't own that, but what if neighbors got together to say, and for the new ones that came, say, hey, let's pick up around this area. We got a little yard here. Let's talk to the manager and plant us a little garden in this little yard here.
That's getting involved at the local level. I mean, that is taking an interest in your community. And that's where it starts, folks, is getting involved at the local level, at the state level, of course, and then at the federal level. But without getting political, it does get involved. It does take getting involved at the local level. Am I my brother's keeper? Well, the world says, no, I'm not. And I submit that, yes, I am.
Oh, another thing. Okay, when I said, did Jesus come for the sick, the healthy, or the rich? We were sitting there, and I heard a person say, "Well, I don't want to be around all these sick people. I'm above that." And I'm thinking, like, well, who said that you're more above just because you're healthy today? Why can't you come alongside and say, "Hey, without being intrusive, let me." Let's see how I can help you. And a person could be sick enough where they say, well, hey, let me try this, let me try that. And because he was talking about, we were looking at people that were like big, like built like blocks. And it was a husband and wife, so whatever she was eating, he was eating. And they just got, I remember this one couple, they said they got married and they had so much money, they just ate one chicken a piece, not a chicken leg, not a chicken thigh, but they say, hey, this whole chicken is for me. This whole chicken is for me. And that just tells you, like, America, I mean, if you got the money to buy it, maybe, what was it? It was something in the Bible, Paul said that even though I can, sometimes I should restrain myself. And I forgot exactly how he says it.
Well, there's lots of things. I mean, like, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are expedient.
Yes, that's the way. Yes. Yeah.
Also about drinking.
Yeah.
You know, it's don't be intoxicated, and it's lawful for you to drink.
Yeah. Take a little wine for your stomach's sake.
But don't do it to make another brother fall.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Public intoxication, stay away from it.
Yep, public intoxication is always bad. Anything that happens after 9 is never a good thing.
I used to go to church, and they used to have and they called it a cult, but I don't know. Yeah, but they would have they have a double dating, like in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And the pastor would say, okay, don't keep the sisters out past 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And if you do, you better have a good reason that you didn't get that sister home before 10 o'clock.
That's right. You get a flat tire. Okay. I mean, that might work, you know.
Don't dance and your daddy don't rock and roll.
It's funny because I'd never thought that I'd be preaching this, what a lot of people say is square message. I used to think, well, there's no reason for me to, let people live the way they want to live. Well, we are where we are because we were tolerant of certain things. And it's good to be tolerant. That's okay. But if you see your brother or your sister struggling, help them out. Help them out. I mean, I'm not even joking here.
Yeah, don't run away or say, I'm above that.
Yeah.
It's like, and I was telling them this was fun thing. I was saying, well, you think these people should be exercising, going swimming? Why don't you create a group saying, hey, at your level, because I'm at a different level, let's go swimming and let's make it a group thing. Or, and you can start out slow, or let's start a bike thing. Or maybe it was one church I've seen that it was this one pastor came in he was like an evangelist, and he had everybody run around the church, And I said, that was pretty cool. I said, how could, I mean, that was back in the day. It's like back in the 80s, but and maybe I don't go to enough churches where they do like fun and innovative stuff like that. To me, it was fun and innovative. He's just saying like, hey, they ran around Jericho 7 times. Let's run around this church 7 times.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's awesome. Folks, we do got to go, but before we do, you had a promo that you wanted to mention, Johnny. You started a school. It's available for your viewing pleasure, folks. If you hit www.innervisionrecords.org, www.innervisionfm.com, and so it's tied into that.
Yeah, and it's just with some documents that we can give you, so you can say if you just got in a band, and before the money comes, you guys should figure out what's the split going to be, because after the money comes, then it becomes a problem, like about splits. But if you do it before all that comes, everybody understands it, everybody got a copy of it, that works. Or if you're going into a recording studio, like how much should you pay that how much should you put in the budget to pay for that person? And I just messed with this guy today. He's a comedian, but when 2020 came around, all of the gigs that he had come in fell apart. So we had to find another line of doing. So he's trying to teach other comedians, other people, like develop an LLC. And these documents is 6 documents all in all. And if you do like a year membership, we can also get you like different book you for different concerts. Now this is just in the United States. I don't know if this works outside of the United States. So I'm looking to see if we can book concerts outside of the United States as well, because they will set it up. And then through your ticket sales, they'll pay the DJ if you're a rapper, hip hop artist, or they provide the boards for you to plug in. And then you bring the audience and they provide the space, and that all that stuff is covered. All you do is come in, plug in, and do your thing. You know,
it is interesting that you bring all this up, especially with the quote big scare that's being pushed these days. We may look at returning back to the way it was back in 2020. There may be a few of you folks that may not want to do that, and I understand that. Leave a like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below, because we are coming to a place where it might be good to start doing some different income streams. A lot of people push silver, gold, this kind of thing. We push knowledge, because knowledge is power, and power, especially in this day and age, is what we all could use a little bit more of. And we get our power from the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And we'll stand on that until we can't anymore. And we'll even stand on that until we're done.
Yeah. And also for people who have borderline diabetes, if you juice string beans, cilantro, parsley, and cucumbers with some ginger, that can quickly like bring down the blood sugar. I mean, just little simple things. Your doctor will not tell you. Maybe even your nutritionist will not tell you. You probably have to get like a holistic. And this is one guy in Hawaii. I'm gonna get his name later on. He said that he said to be a lawyer, but he went to become a nutritionist, health nutritionist. He said he had to write up this law to make it legal for the medicine guys of Hawaii, the original medical medicine guys, to be able to practice it, because it was illegal.
Well,
in Hawaii.
That's what YouTube is trying to do right now with regard to some of their stuff, is to go ahead and censor anything that is not approved by those good folks all around the world.
Hail Rockefeller.
Yeah, Rockefeller. Yeah,
because Big Pharma does not have anything in mind except for the bottom line and the almighty dollar. If they can manage the symptoms rather than cure the disease, they're going to go ahead and do that. So, it's super important to get a hold of your old folks, get a hold of those that know these things. And if you want to learn more about that, hit us up, info@innervisionfm.com. We'll make sure that you get the knowledge that you need.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things going on. Don't be deceived. Just because they 24 hours a day, they're just promoting this fast food, moderation. And I know everybody you can't stop cold turkey, but maybe cut meat out of one meal a week. Then next week, two. You'll be amazed that you still have strength, and you can replace those with chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds. You get those, huh?
So I wish I could get hemp seed. Anything hemp here. I can't.
They don't. Wow.
CBD oil,
Yeah.
you'll go to prison for 20 years.
Get
Yeah.
out of here! This is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting the way that things work.
Oh
You
man.
know, and even though, I've decided to go all the way and not touch it anymore in any way, shape, or form, that's only for me. I mean, if it resonates with you, do it. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let God be your guide, really, honestly.
Yeah.
It took me a long, long time to get to this place. And
Yeah.
And
it doesn't happen overnight. And read those parts of the scripture, and then ask your pastor, and maybe he may not have asked. You say maybe he has to pray about it, but ask the Holy Spirit to help and guide you. Because it's taken me a long time. I knew that whenever I ate certain things as far as meat products, it didn't do me right. I knew that kids having earaches because they were drinking the cow's milk, something was not right about that.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't put my finger on it until I started hanging out with other people that they said, this, you stop this, and this, and you'll stop that. And you exchange this for that, then you'll stop this. And it's a reason why they have all these dialysis machines in certain poor neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Because the poor people get it the worst, because they put all these fast food places in those areas.
That's absolutely right. And, when you are hungry, you will eat what is offered. And, it's easier when it's fast food, because if you're hungry, you want to eat right now. You want to eat whatever it is, and it does not matter whether it is good for you. As long as it tastes okay, you'll eat it.
Oh, and they'll make it taste good. They'll make it taste very good.
Well,
that's good.
That's what I was going to say, is some of this stuff does taste good, the vegetarian diet or the plant-based diet. It's just all about how it's prepared.
Oh yeah, seasonings.
Yeah,
I've learned so much about the herbs and seasoning, and so
my wife makes a burger out of banana heart.
Oh yeah.
See, I got to try that one.
Better than a hamburger. Way better.
Yeah, it's way better.
It's just wonderful. We have banana trees back here, so.
Oh man, all the free bananas you want.
That's awesome,
man. All right.
Most of the bananas though aren't edible. They're not like you buy in the store. They're.
It's interesting you bring that up, hey Joe, because I got some bananas the other day and they were not even ripe at all. And I don't know what the heck was the matter with them, but even when they ripened up, they were inedible. Not even good. So I don't know. Anyway, that's just a side note.
Oh yeah. All right, everybody. Hey, join us tomorrow. We'll have some other exciting things to talk about, but who knows, man. Usually I just switch it up and change to something else, because I had a whole different show planned for today. And I just said, forget about those deniers who are Democrats, and let's go another direction.
Bring you some good news.
There's
we're filled to the brim with bad news. So we just wanted to bring you a little good news today.
All right. So, all right. See you guys tomorrow.
God bless. Thanks, guys.
Monday.
All right.